Hi, I'm Danny. Today I'm going to explain a horror movie where a simple knock at 3 a.m. turns into a nightmare. What begins as curiosity spirals into terror as a dark presence reveals itself, and answering the door becomes a deadly mistake. This is Never Answer a Knock at 3 a.m. Let's start a soft, deliberate knock at exactly 3 a.m. I remember because I just glanced at my alarm clock after waking up with a dry mouth. I figured I'd get some water, maybe scroll my phone for a bit before trying to sleep again. Then came the knock. Not frantic or loud, just steady. Knock, knock, knock. At first, I thought it might have been my imagination. Who the hell knocks on someone's front door in the middle of the night? I lived alone, in a quiet suburb where nothing ever happened. I stood still in my kitchen, heart beginning to thump hard against my ribs. Then came a second round. Knock, knock, knock. This time I was sure. I crept to the front window, slowly pulling back the curtain just a sliver. The porch light was on, casting pale yellow light across the steps. But no one was there, or so I thought. Just as I began to let the curtain fall back, I saw it, a figure, barely visible, standing just out of reach of the light, half concealed behind the wooden post of the porch. Tall, motionless, their face hidden in shadow. I didn't recognize the silhouette. My phone was charging in the bedroom, and something told me not to turn on more lights. I crouched by the door, holding my breath. A third knock came, louder. Knock, knock, knock. And then a voice. "I know you're awake." I froze. The voice was hoarse, dry, as if the speaker hadn't used it in years. Not angry, not pleading, just matter of fact. "You saw me." My heart dropped. My vision pulsed at the edges. I backed away, crawling toward the hallway. My mind raced. Call 911? But my phone. Suddenly the door handle rattled. I stifled a scream and bolted for my bedroom. I slammed the door and locked it behind me. My phone's screen glowed 3:04 a.m. No missed calls, no messages. Then it vibrated. "Unknown number. Why did you look?" I stared at the screen, and that's when I heard it, not from the door anymore, but from inside the house. A whisper. "I'm in." The whisper stopped me cold. It wasn't a sound carried through a vent or echoing from outside. It was near, close. Inside the house, my legs locked, fingers frozen around my phone. "I'm in." The words echoed in my skull like thunder in a cave. I hadn't opened the door. I hadn't even gotten near it. Yet someone was now inside. And I didn't hear a window break. No shattering glass, no creaking doors, just silence. I moved with painstaking slowness toward my closet, pulling the door open and stepping inside. It was the only place I could hide with a full view of the bedroom door. My phone vibrated again. "Unknown number. Stop hiding." I covered the screen, heart pounding. My breaths came shallow, rapid, like I'd been running for miles. I turned the sound off, bracing for footsteps, for anything. But the house was still. Suddenly, the doorknob to my bedroom began to turn, slowly. Click. The locked handle resisted, but something tried again, this time with more pressure. I felt the walls of the closet press in on me. I reached for anything. A hanger? An old bat I kept from college. Something to protect myself. Another message. "Unknown number. Let me see you." No. This had to be a prank. A sick one. Someone messing with me, maybe hacked my phone, knew my name somehow. I opened the phone app, started dialing 911, but just before pressing call, my phone died, from 64% battery to 0. Just like that. No warning. Then the doorknob stopped moving. I waited. 10 seconds. A full minute. Nothing. Suddenly, a loud thud hit the wall to my left. The closet wall. Something had struck from the other side. I bit my lip hard enough to bleed, keeping quiet. Then another whisper. Louder this time. "I see you." I had no vents in the closet, no windows, no crawl space. The wall that was hit led to the hallway, and then I realized it. The thing, whatever it was, wasn't trying to get into the closet. It was already behind the wall. Scraping noises began, soft at first, then more frantic like nails against plaster. Something was digging, tearing through drywall. I bolted. I burst from the closet, flung open the bedroom door, and sprinted for the front door. My hands fumbled at the locks, my lungs aching from panic. Behind me, the scraping turned into a growl, animalistic, unnatural. I flung the door open, but what stood there was worse. It was me. Another version of me. Pale, smiling, dead eyes, standing barefoot on the porch, tilting its head, and behind it the hallway lights flickered. I turned back and saw another me standing at the end of the hallway, whispering, "Don't run." I couldn't breathe. Two of them. Two versions of me. One standing in my hallway, whispering in my voice, lips barely moving, and another on my porch, motionless like a wax figure of myself left too long in the sun. Its smile didn't match the lifelessness in its eyes. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't someone in a mask. This was something else. I slammed the front door shut, backing into the living room. My legs felt rubbery, unsteady. I couldn't think, only react. I turned to grab my keys, but they were gone. Not misplaced, gone. The bowl, I always kept them in, shattered on the floor like it had never been whole. The lights in the hallway began to flicker rhythmically, and with each flicker, my doppelganger appeared closer. First at the far end of the hallway, then halfway, then standing just beyond the living room entryway, still whispering, still smiling. I grabbed the fireplace poker and swung hard. It vanished. Just like that, no sound, no blur. One blink, and it wasn't there, but the whispering continued. "Let me back in." Back? Had it always been here? I ran toward the kitchen, heart hammering. The air grew heavy, thick. Every breath felt like I was inhaling smoke, even though they all came from inside. And when I looked, there was my face again, staring at me from inside the fridge, grinning. Condensation dripped from its nose and its eyes were milky white. I backed away, tripping on broken dishes. Then my phone, dead just minutes ago, buzzed again from the living room. One notification, one message. "Unknown number, you're not you anymore." I picked it up. The screen glitched, colors distorting, the battery now reading 666%. I blinked and saw my reflection in the black screen, and it smiled at me while I did not. That's when the laughing began. From all around me, from the walls, from inside the couch, from behind the TV. All laughing in my own voice, layers of it, distorted, some childlike, some old, some in languages I didn't understand. I screamed, covering my ears, dropping to the floor. The last thing I remember before I passed out was the soft knock on the window beside me. Tap, tap, tap. I opened my eyes, and there I was again, outside this time, face pressed to the glass, mouthing the words, "Let me come back." When I woke, the room was silent again. No whispers, no doppelgangers, no knocks. Only me, lying on my back in the middle of the living room, clutching the cold fireplace poker like a lifeline. My mouth was dry, my chest sore. I sat up, scanning for movement, but everything looked normal, almost too normal. All the kitchen cabinets were closed, no broken dishes, no shattered tea bowl, and my phone sat neatly on the coffee table, locked, untouched. Had I dreamed it? No. The cold sweat on my neck said otherwise. My knees ached from how I had dropped, and a smear of blood on my hand confirmed the cut I got from falling. I grabbed my phone again. It powered on with a soft vibration. Battery 64%, no glitches, no strange percentages. But in my message history, the texts from unknown number were gone, erased, no trace. But the chill remained. I went to the hallway, cautiously, avoiding the mirrors. My room was empty, closet undisturbed, bathroom clean. I checked every door, every window, locked tight. As I turned to walk back down the hall, something caught my eye. A door. At the far end. It hadn't been there before. Between my office and the linen closet was now a narrow, black door. It didn't match the others. It was older, warped, the paint cracked like dried skin. No handle, no frame, just embedded directly into the wall. I stepped closer, my breath fogging up slightly as I approached. It was cold. I pressed my palm to it and felt a deep vibration, like something on the other side was breathing. I whispered to myself, "This wasn't here before," and the door whispered back, "It was always here." I recoiled. I didn't wait. I ran to the hallway closet and pulled out a hammer and flashlight. With trembling hands, I aimed the beam at the strange door. The wood absorbed the light. Not reflected, absorbed, as if it were sucking it in. I raised the hammer and struck the door as hard as I could. It echoed like I'd hit metal. Not wood, but it cracked, only slightly, but I saw it. A thin fracture that exposed darkness behind it. Not the absence of light, something darker. A void then. Movement behind the crack. A sliver of a hand. No, not quite a hand. Something like a branch or a bone brushing along the crack like it was testing the boundary. A faint voice filtered through. My voice. Whispering, "Let me out, I'm the real one." I dropped the hammer. This wasn't a dream, it wasn't a breakdown. Something was in there, wearing me, and it wanted out. I turned and ran for the front door. I didn't look back, I didn't listen. I just ran into the night, barefoot and breathless, leaving the door, the crack, the whispering behind. But as I stood outside, panting under the moonlight, I realized something that froze my heart solid. There were no lights on in the house. I had left them all on. Then, my bedroom light clicked on, and in the window, standing perfectly still, was me, smiling. After I ran outside, gasping for air, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The night was unnervingly quiet, the kind of silence that presses on your ears and rattles your nerves. I sat on the cold grass, heart pounding, eyes darting toward the dark windows of the house. I wanted to believe it was over, that whatever had invaded my life was gone. But then, a faint sound broke the silence, a whisper, carried on the wind. "Come back." I jumped to my feet, scanning the yard. No one, just the shadows dancing in the moonlight. I backed away from the house toward the street, and then I heard it again, this time louder, more urgent. "You belong to us." Suddenly my phone buzzed. I hesitated but picked it up. The screen was black except for a message, unknown number. "You opened the door." My blood ran cold. I hadn't opened any door. Desperate for help, I dialed 911. The line rang and rang. No answer. Then a distorted voice spoke from the receiver. "They never answer at 3 a.m. The call disconnected. I ran back to the street, looking for neighbors. The houses were dark, no lights, no movement. Suddenly I heard footsteps behind me, slow, deliberate. I dared not look. Then a voice, soft and close, whispered my name. I spun around, no one. Then the voice again, this time behind the bushes. "Come back, it's waiting." Fear paralyzed me. I turned and sprinted to a neighbor's porch light. I pounded on the door until an elderly man answered, eyes wide with confusion. I begged him to call the police, but his phone had no signal. Trapped between a nightmare and reality, I realized the voices weren't just from the house, they were everywhere. The shadows that chased me, the whispers in the wind, and the chilling knowledge that some things, once invited in, never truly leave. The night dragged on, but sleep refused to come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that face, pale, expressionless, pressed tight against my bedroom window. I dared not move. The silhouette stayed motionless. The glass fogged with its breath, even though it was cold outside. I wanted to scream, to run, but my body was frozen. Minutes stretched like hours. Then the window rattled. A soft tap, tap, tap. My heart thundered in my ears. The figure pressed a hand against the glass, long fingers with nails like cracked porcelain. I crawled backward, eyes never leaving the window. The porch light flickered and died. Darkness swallowed the yard. The figure vanished. I sprinted to the door, locking it behind me, and bolted to the neighbor's house. But when I looked back through the streetlight's weak glow, the window was lit, and that face was there again, watching, waiting. The next night, I was prepared. I stayed awake until 3 a.m., clutching my phone and a baseball bat. Every creak of the house made me jump. Every shadow seemed alive. At exactly 3 a.m., a slow, deliberate knock echoed at the front door. Knock, knock, knock. My blood ran cold. I gripped the bat tighter and peered through the peephole. No one. But then a whisper, unmistakable, close to my ear. Open up. I spun around. No one there. Then the door handle rattled violently. I raised the bat and shouted, "Who's there? Show yourself." Silence. Suddenly, a gust of freezing air swept through the house. Lights flickered and went out. In the darkness, I heard footsteps, slow, heavy, approaching. I backed into the corner, bat raised, heart pounding like a drum. A shadow materialized from the darkness, tall, looming, faceless. It reached for me. I screamed and swung the bat. The bat connected with something solid but cold like ice. A hollow, unnatural sound echoed through the room. The shadow recoiled, then vanished into thin air. I collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath. My phone flickered to life, battery at 1%. One last message appeared. Unknown number, this is your last warning. Suddenly, the power surged back. Lights snapped on. Everything looked normal, but the front door began to creak open. Slow, deliberate. I bolted, running out into the street. Neighbors' houses remained dark, silent. No one answered my cries for help. Then, the final knock echoed from behind me. Knock, knock, knock. The knock chased me down the street, slow, deliberate, echoing in my bones. I spun around, heart hammering. No one. Only empty shadows in the cold night air. I wanted to run, but my legs felt like lead. The knock came again, closer, closer. Then right behind me, I dared a glance. No figure. Only the chilling feeling of breath on my neck. I ran faster. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You can't hide. I dove into a neighbor's yard, banging on the door until they answered. But as I caught my breath, a shadow passed behind them. And in the doorway, just for a second, I saw the face. My face. If you want to watch more horror movies like this, please like and comment on the video. You must subscribe to our channel and keep the bell icon all press. Thank you.